Hello, everyone. I'm Robert Wenzel. Welcome to the fourth episode of Sunday Morning with Robert Wenzel. Today's topic is Stephen Miller, an economic ignoramus. The Stephen Miller I'm referring to is a top aide to President Trump and appears to have some influence over the president. The president respects Miller. Miller this past week, took to the platform of the White House press briefing room to discuss a new bill, an immigration bill that President Trump supports. The bill is called the RAISE Act. RAISE stands for Reforming American Immigration for a Strong Economy. The whole bill is a myth. The title is a myth. And when Miller went to the press briefing room, he took it to a new horrific level in attempting to support this bill. He said the bill would help shrink wealth inequality. But there's no, this is supposed to be a free market, free enterprise country. But there's no one that understands free market economics that talks at all about shrinking the wealth inequality. What we want to do is create a free market so that the standard of living increases for everyone. Some people may increase quicker than others because they're producing more product, producing product that consumers want, but that doesn't mean other people can't go up. The spread has nothing to do with it. Yet, Miller supported this bill, justified this bill, support of this bill, based upon that it would shrink wealth inequality. Then it got worse. He said the bill would put people ahead of corporate profits. But who said there is any conflict between people and corporate profits? Corporate profits, if they're not crony profits, where it's coming from some kind of collusion with the government, some kind of crony deal. But profits in the free market mean a company is providing some kind of service to customers that they want, otherwise they wouldn't make a profit. And secondly, if a company has profits, it allows them to bid more for labor. There is no conflict between people and profits. Yet, Miller is justifying this bill based on that idea. He's got egalitarian ideas about wealth inequality, and he's got socialist ideas about profit. And this is a top advisor who's considered conservative, by the way. But he's conservative in a nationalistic sense that has nothing to do with free markets. It has nothing to do with limited government. And it has a lot to do with a certain kind of control of the economy. Specifically, he said, and he was proud of this, that the bill is going to now provide for a skills test for green card holders, people coming in who want green cards. Now, where is it in economic law, economic principles, that Donald Trump and Steve Miller know more than the markets about what kind of people should be flowing in here to increase production? This skills test is supposedly going to eliminate low-skilled and unskilled immigration. Let me draw my favorite circle of productivity. This is all the productivity in the United States. If someone is coming over here and is coming over here because they're getting paid a wage, whoever is paying that wage, whether it's a corporation, a businessman, an individual, he's expecting more to gain from that than whatever he's paying out. So consequently, the production of the economy increases. That's just basic. If there's an unskilled laborer here and I'm paying him $8 an hour to clean buildings, I'm expecting more out of that. If at home I pay a guy $8 an hour to cut my lawn, either it gives me more leisure, which I value more than the $8, or it gives me the opportunity to spend more time at work where I can earn more than $8 an hour. There's always a net increase to the production in an economy when people are paying for services or something. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be skilled laborers that come in. Silicon Valley probably needs those too. But there is nothing at all that says that unskilled labor is not needed in the United States and that it would somehow be harmful. Now, the next thing Miller says, after coming out with wealth inequality, a battle between people and profits, and sort of blocking these people because they're, quote, unskilled, he also says the unskilled take away jobs from Americans and lower their wages. Now, part of this is the lump of labor theory fallacy, which holds that there's a certain lump of labor available, and if someone takes it from the outside, it means there's less labor that can be employed, less laborers here in the United States that can be employed. But that's a myth. As I've said before, we do not live in the Garden of Eden. Whether you believe that for religious reasons, that we get thrown out, that there never has been a Garden of Eden, we are certainly not in it now. So there's always work to do. And until wages are diving towards 10 cents or 1 cent an hour or something like that, if they're higher than that, that means there's people bidding for labor. I could think of a dozen things that I would bid for if labor was cheaper than it is now. So that's a myth. Then secondly, there's the myth that somehow the laborers, new laborers coming in, are taking away from current laborers. But if we got high-skilled and low-skilled people in the United States already working, and there's new laborers coming in, increasing the pool, well, they'll take $8 out, but they're going to create what? $9 in value, certainly more than the $8, because then otherwise no one would hire them. So it increases the pool of productivity available for the high and low-skilled people. It's utter nonsense that there are no jobs for people because of low-skilled people coming in, and that this somehow forces down wages. What it does is it increases the pool of product. And this is a guy that's, again, is a major advisor who understands none of this, who's promoting something based on total economic ignorance. He was also proud of the fact that now in this bill is calling for an English test for green card holders. Why? At my office, if I'm working late and the guy comes in to take the wastebasket, dumps it into a bigger wastebasket and goes on, I say hey to him. He says hey back. I have no idea if he understands any English at all. Why do I care? Why does this guy need to understand English? If we're trying to upgrade the level of the workers in the United States, their educational level, what we're doing is we're blocking people from coming into the country who may have the skills for the jobs we need them for, and we don't need them for any other thing. We don't need educated people as far as English is concerned. If it's such a big deal as far as English is concerned, let's really educate these guys and demand that they understand algebra and calculus and philosophy, that they understand John Rawls and Bob Nozick and Mises Rothbard. That way, when I hire a guy to cut my lawn, I can say, hey, come on up to, come inside after you finish the lawn, we'll have a beer and discuss the regression theorem. I mean, what is this nonsense? Are Miller and Trump really afraid that in a country the size of the United States, that the whole thing is going to be taken over by a different language? We are the most powerful economic power in the world. English is the language of commerce and also happens to be the international language of love. I have a friend who's French. His wife is Ukrainian. She doesn't speak any French. He doesn't speak any Ukrainian. They communicate in English because they both understood English. I recently took a quick flight over to Europe. On the way back, there were two people in the seats behind me. One was a girl from Sweden. The other guy was a guy from Italy, and she didn't understand Italian. He didn't understand Swedish, but they at some point realized they both spoke English, and so the conversation went on for about 4 hours, and they hit it off. It looked like that they might still be together. But it's only because we are such a powerful economic. We don't have to force people to learn English. People want to learn English. What limits the desire for people to learn English if they know they can't exchange with us so that there's no benefit for them. When Trump talks about putting tariffs on in China or other countries, it's sort of at the margin telling a few people, hey, don't learn English, you're not going to be able to use it. If Trump is serious, if Miller and Trump have this big kick where they think there's going to be a problem about English in the United States or a limitation on English, that's what they should focus on is these tariffs and other things they're proposing, which is going to make it less desirable globally for people to learn English and make it difficult for us to travel at some point if we really close the borders and no one has any incentive from a commercial perspective to learn English at all. Now, the one thing in the bill, it calls for ending extended family members from coming to the United States of people that are already here who have become citizens. Now, I'm all for a welfare wall. I've called for a welfare wall forever. Basically, no one coming here should get any income from the United States. They shouldn't get any health care from the United States. They shouldn't get any education. Because that just creates incentive for people to come here, not to increase the productivity, but to live off of American taxpayers that are supporting that kind of stuff. So that should be cut off. The elimination of extended family is an attempt to cut off welfare payments, but it's not directly. What it's doing is saying, okay, well, the people that are getting it are the extended family, so we'll cut them off. But when you don't go to the heart of something and you try to go around the edges on something like this, there's people that are just going to find other directions and angles around it to take advantage of the welfare that's out there. So the battle should be for welfare elimination itself for immigrants. And so that's basically it. We've got a guy, he has to be watched. This guy, considered a conservative, but we got to watch this guy. He's, again, talking about wealth inequality, people versus corporate profits, totally confused about skill levels, thinks him and Donald Trump should micromanage who comes into the country as opposed to leaving it up to free markets. Dangerous guy. If he's got these kind of thoughts with regard to immigration, he has no understanding of free market principles at all, and he'll be all over the place on everything else. All right, good talking to you. We'll see you next week.